I really like Cerakote Trim Coat. I think it's a great product and I've had phenomenal results using it in the past. In fact, myself and plenty of others have made videos about how great of a product it is. However, if you've never used it before, there's some pretty important things that I think that you should know about before you give it a try that people rarely talk about. This product can be amazing if used correctly and used in the right situations. But if not, it can actually be a little bit of a nightmare. So today, I want to talk about those situations so you never have to deal with those issues. Don't say you weren't warned. Stick around and watch this video to find out everything you need to know about Cerakote Trim Coat. So the first thing to know is that it's a product that is made to be a restoration product and not a protectant. It even says that first thing on this little instruction card. So when your vehicle has got old, raggedy, faded trim and you want to restore it back to its original shine, this stuff is perfect. But if you get a brand new car and you want to use it to shine everything up, not ideal. Or if you get aftermarket parts, especially like the slick ABS plastic kind of cheap parts, and put that on there, I think there's some sort of like mold grease or oil or something on those parts, and just the overall non-textured slickness of the parts, it doesn't go on very well at all. It seems to absorb well into the old faded texture or absorb well into like a textured plastic, but that slick stuff, it almost like it just sits on top and it gets streaky and blotchy. And it can also make it prone to have water spots too if you put it on certain materials. So stay away from brand new plastics and make sure that you're only using it as a restoration product and not a protectant. Number two, you don't want to use it on rubber. Like any seals or weather stripping, if you put that on there, it might look good initially, but over time it could cause it to brown or discolor and even get like hard and crackly and cause damage to the rubber. So always want to use it on plastic trim and not rubber. Number three, you can run into some issues putting Cerakote over the top of Cerakote. Like I've had it go on pretty smooth on top of the side skirts on this Camaro whenever I did a video about best trim restore product. It went on great when I had it on the taped off lines, but then after I pulled off all the tape and then went over the whole side skirt, the spot where I put 2 layers of Cerakote looks like crap. It was you can see here in this video, it's just blotchy, streaky, and almost like a little cracked up. You want to make sure you get the surface of whatever you're applying it to super clean and prepped before you add Cerakote. But another thing about Cerakote is that it's extremely hard to get off. So there was no way I was going to be able to get it off before I added a second coat here. So it's just one of those circumstances where it made everything that was on one side of the line extra dark, hard, and gross looking, and everything that was on the other side of the line look really nice. And another thing about it not coming off is make sure you don't get it on your paint. All this blotchiness right here is where I was just getting lazy and doing this and hitting it with the corner of the rag and didn't realize it. And that has been on there for a while. I've washed the car multiple times. It's not going anywhere. I don't know if you can see this spot right here. Accidentally got it on the paint when hitting this thing, which I have since painted. But that spot right there, I tried to wipe it off with acetone. No. I tried to wipe it off with lacquer thinner. No. I tried to wipe it off with rubbing compound. No. I tried to buff it off with an extremely thick cut compound with a high speed buffer. No. I don't know. I guess I have to sand it off if I want to get that off. Or just, I don't know, let it sit there for I don't know how long until it comes off. But the moral of the story is, don't do what I did. Don't get it on your paint. Take your time, tape it off, make sure you do a good job and don't just be all slopping it around everywhere, getting it on stuff. Because if you do, it's going to be crusted on there for a long, long time. Prep is everything with this stuff. You got to treat it like it's clear coat. Make sure you have everything taped off well. Clean whatever surface that you're about to use it on multiple times with isopropyl alcohol or any type of solvent-based cleaner to make sure you have it really, really clean. Because if there's any leftover dressings or whatever on there, it's going to potentially come out blotchy, streaky, or uneven. Also, to get the best results, temperature matters. You want to make sure you're applying it between 60 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And when you're applying it, try to get a nice, light, level coat over the surface. Because if you put it on real thick and just let it sit there, if there's any like little layers of texture of the product or like little bubbles or streaks or lines, that stuff could potentially stay in the final result. So always make sure you smooth it out nice and smooth. You can see here on the Silverado, as I'm applying it, how it looks right here. So if I just would have left it like that, that would have been the final product. So I went over it a lot more, just smoothing it out, making sure there was no streaks or little like circles from where you turn the rag, and get it all nice and leveled out and how you'd want it to look before you let it dry. So it's going to apply pretty much the way it looks directly after you're done applying it. So always make sure that you got it looking good before you let it cure. Speaking of letting it cure, as soon as you're done putting it on, you want to give it a couple hours before you touch it or do anything with it. And it's best to give it 24 hours or longer before you get it wet or clean it or do anything else like that. And last but not least, make sure you apply it indoors or at least in a shaded area if you're doing it outside and not in direct sunlight. So here's the deal. It's a for serious product. It's not something that you can just slap on and wash off. You need to think of it more like it's a clear coat than it is like a tire dressing or an interior dressing or something like that. It can have its drawbacks if used wrong or used in the wrong situation. But am I still going to use it? Absolutely. On surfaces like these Silverado mirrors, this Silverado bumper trim, the plastic on the back of this Camaro bumper, this textured plastic that is older and needs to be restored, it is hands down the best trim restoration product that I've ever used. The key is just knowing when and how to use it. What are your thoughts on Cerakote Trim Restore? Have you had any bad experiences, great experiences, other tips and tricks that people should know about before they use it that weren't included in the video? I would love to know, and so would everyone else that's watching. And as always, I would be honored if you would subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more detailing and restoration stuff. Thanks for watching.